Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 fragrances that I hate, so stay tuned for that. If you like fragrance reviews, cologne comparisons, first impressions, and top 10 lists, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So usually I do talk about fragrances that I like, or do first impressions of fragrances that I hope I'm going to like, but today I'm actually going to do a list of fragrances that I don't like. Now, not all of them I outright hate. Some of them were just massive disappointments, or I didn't really like them. But some of these I definitely absolutely hate, and I will explain, each one and what I don't like about it. So, to just get right into the list, the first one, Viking Cologne. Now, this is one of the ones that I don't hate. Now, I'm actually a really big fan of Viking. Really like it. It's a nice, mature, fresh, spicy fragrance. Has mint in it that gives it a nice cooling clash with the spiciness. It has a little bit of a rose in it that actually comes across quite nice. And, it's a really nice sort of modern take on a very classic fragrance style, which is the barbershop style. So I do really enjoy that one. So of course I was very excited for Viking Cologne, but I also knew it was made by Creed. So in my opinion, I was kind of expecting that they wouldn't do a good interpretation of it. I do like some Creed fragrances, but I don't know how people start to think of them as like the greatest fragrance brand ever. Anyways, the fragrance itself is just so-so. I mean, there's nothing really that makes a statement about it. I feel like, Viking, the original, stands out. It is a fragrance that, says something about the person that's wearing it, whereas I don't really get that feeling from Viking. It's a very much watered down version. There isn't mint in it, but I do get a little bit of a minty feel, and of course I do love mint, so I am happy that it's still there, but not quite. It does have this really beautiful orange in the opening. I'll give it to them on that one. When they include orange in a fragrance, they include the best orange in my opinion. So this orange is also present in Aventus Cologne. Very, very nice, but again, it's just a very muted version of Viking. It isn't just a fresher take. It is basically really toning it back so that it doesn't have any more of a backbone anymore, in my opinion. So that one did let me down a little bit, but like I said, really love Viking. Great fragrance. So next one, I actually dislike this one, and this is Secretions Magnifique. Probably shouldn't really surprise anybody who smelled this fragrance, and I have to be honest, I was very surprised on the opening. This one actually doesn't smell that bad. It has this sort of freshness that kind of draws you in and makes you think it's a light, fresh, easy to wear fragrance. So there is something in that opening that does come across fairly appealing, but sooner rather than later, you start to get this sort of stale, milky kind of weird note that really everything just starts to go downhill from there. Does become a little bit gross, and that is really, I think, what they were trying to go for this fragrance, and so they've definitely done it. Now, it's definitely not the most disgusting fragrance that I've ever smelled, but it is an unpleasant fragrance. I mean, for people who actually wear this one, and wear it out, and it's like a daily scent for them, I mean, congratulations to them. I don't know how they do that, how they pull that off, but if they do pull it off and it works for them, that's amazing. Next one, another little bit of a disappointment. I don't absolutely hate this one, but it was definitely disappointing. That's Cubata. And this fragrance, it's a tobacco fragrance, sweet tobacco fragrance, and with the notes, it's boozy, it's tobacco. If I recall, there's also maybe even leather in this one, and I was really hoping for a nice, sweet, boozy tobacco fragrance. And, if you smell it right off the cap, it does actually smell really, really good. There's this really nice, fruity vibe that gives me, maybe a little bit of a Naxos feel to it. It has this sort of slightly spiced, fruity vibe, whereas Naxos has like this honeyed, spiced tobacco, and this has a fruity spiced tobacco, a little bit syrupy, but that doesn't play out on skin. It doesn't play out on paper. Once you spray it, you just, for me, did not really get that at all. It just had a very flat kind of tobacco feel with a little bit of sweetness. and a little bit, a very slight amount of booziness. So it really isn't that good, and it did not give me the feel of Cuba or Havana, which is what it's supposed to do. So it's not horrible, but I think especially given the price point, it's not a good purchase for me. And even if it was a cheapie, personally, I wouldn't buy it because I just don't like it. But again, it was one of those disappointment fragrances. Now the next one might surprise a lot of people, and I do actually kind of hate this fragrance, and it's Cool Water by Davidoff. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, this is really unoffensive fragrance. It smells like Green Irish Tweed. And, even if I'm not a huge Green Irish Tweed fan, it's a very versatile and easy to wear fragrance. And I could see myself wearing it sometimes, especially in more formal occasions or in occasions where it's kind of important to wear something classy but not overly offensive. I could see certainly wearing Green Irish Tweed. Now, the biggest thing for me with Cool Water, there's that mint note. And I love mint. I love mint. It's such a good fragrance note, but it does not work with the Green Irish Tweed DNA. It smells so weird. Like, it just smells weird. I don't like it, and I don't want to like it. I tried to like it, but it's just not going to work out that way, And you're not going to like every fragrance. That's fine. For me, at the price point even, it's not worth it. It's great to try out. It's one that's worth trying out, especially if you like Green Irish Tweed. But for me, it's a definite hard pass, not liking that one. Now, the next one, Shihan, another bit of a disappointment fragrance. So this one, I believe, is again tobacco, booze, and leather. And a lot of people really like this fragrance. I was really expecting or hoping for a really strong whiskey and tobacco fragrance. And what I got instead is something that smells kind of like hay. Oh, it has coffee in it too, which I did smell a little bit as I decanted it, but it smelled extremely synthetic. So that's the other thing, is a lot of the notes in this one do kind of have a little bit of a lower quality smell. They do smell a little bit more synthetic. Now, I do actually like the brand, Pyotr Charnicki, probably saying that wrong. And he does have a lot of fragrances that I think are really great. But this, although it's the most popular one, to me is not the one that I like. Venom of Angel is much better. Really want to try Blue Bayou, but I haven't had the chance yet. But anyways, it doesn't work for me. It smells like hay. The coffee is synthetic. There's not really any booziness. And that tobacco comes across as smelling like hay. Not a good, hard pass. Worth trying for you. Maybe it works differently on your skin. Maybe you like it a little bit more if you like coffee, booze, and tobacco. Next one, Bae 19. Not a big fan of totally forgot this brand to begin with. Whoever it is who makes Bae 19. Totally forgot the name of the brand, drawing a total blank. Not a big fan of their fragrances in general. They're very expensive, which is fine if they really do something great. But even the ones that I like Bergamot 22, it's just so simple, which is fine. They kind of are a simplistic brand. But again, for the price point, I always expect a little bit more than that. Especially for a simple fragrance that has to be so masterfully done to be worth the kind of price point that they're asking. Le Labo, that's their name. Like I said, I do like some of their fragrances. I think Noir, whatever the number is, was really good. But this one, I really was hoping I would get that sort of, because the vibe was supposed to be sort of like it smells like it has just finished raining. And there is this kind of a light feeling of moisture with this one, but it just comes across smelling a little bit damp. Maybe like damp cement. I was really hoping more for like that fresh, crisp smell and, the fresh, moist soil or something like that. Just didn't do it for me. It's just very plain smelling. Again, I know the brand is Simplicity in general, but this one, not for me. It's an absolute pass. Moving on in the list, we have Oud Satin Mood. Now, this might offend some people because I know a lot of people like this fragrance. And I'm going to preface this by saying this does smell like a very quality fragrance. and it does really take you on a bit of a journey, but it's not a journey that I particularly, I guess, would want to wear. It is a very rosy fragrance, and it does move into this very luxury, soapy kind of a vibe. It did give me a lot more, and this is the thing that a lot of even rose or strong florals in general do give me more of a feminine vibe. To me, this one did just feel a lot more like a feminine fragrance, which again is fine, and I think everyone should wear exactly what they like, regardless of who the fragrance is or is not marketed to. But to me, it just smells like something I think, a wealthy woman should wear or could wear. It definitely has that vibe, and it does transition a lot through the fragrance, but again, just not for me. Did not like that one. So I'm going to move on to the next one. This is another one from Le Labo. You might be getting a theme here. It's Pickle Juice 33, or as it is more commonly called, Santal 33. And I don't know if this is a commonality with sandalwood fragrances. I do like sandalwood as a note, but it seems that some sandalwood fragrances can smell really bad. And this one just smells not good. It smells weird. I don't know if I would describe it right off like pickle juice, but it does definitely have, this feeling of just weird odor. Like a very weird odor. Like, why would I want to smell like this? Whatever the heck this is. Definitely not smelling like sandalwood. So they're not using top grade sandalwood. If they are using it at all, I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually synthetic. Just because it gives off such a weird vibe. None of that creaminess, none of that great woody vibe that I love in sandalwood fragrances. Sacred Wood, good example of a very strong sandalwood fragrance that comes off really, really well done. I also liked Meander. The dry down is a really nice sandalwood. But Santal 33? I don't think so. Next one, Russian Leather. I barely remember this one because it was so tragic and, it traumatized me a little bit. This is one I was really excited for because it was a leather fragrance with completely different notes than I'd seen in a lot of leather-dominant fragrances, right? It was not that kind of sweet raspberry or sweet leather that you get with so many other fragrances. A lot of them are really great, but, I always appreciate something a little bit different, and this just stunk. Like, I think I only had this on my hand for about 10 minutes at the most before I actually scrubbed like crazy. Soap, I almost put my hand in bleach. Not quite, but you know what I mean. It was... And very few fragrances, I have to say, even if I haven't really liked them, I've actually gone out of my way to scrub off. This one made me nauseous. It's just really gross. Whatever it is, it's disgusting. I don't like it. It's not a good fragrance. And yeah, like I said, that's actually very rare for me. Now, the top one. This was actually given to me a long, long time ago by a subscriber. If you're still watching, shout out to you. Did give me a lot of interesting wood oud fragrances. Now this one, I don't think it has oud in it, but it is a sandalwood fragrance, which is why I mentioned them earlier. And it is also very gross. That is Santal Blush by Tom Ford. I think about some of the fragrances that have been discontinued. Plum Japanese. I think even Tobacco Oud. I heard that one was discontinued. These are really good fragrances for me, in my opinion. Really like those fragrances. Santal Blush is terrible. I don't know how it survived, but again, a lot of this has to do first and foremost with sales. So I guess, a lot of more people like Santal Blush, and I guess, a sort of plain woody fragrance is easier to wear in more situations than something like Tobacco Oud, but even Plum Japanese I found to be, quite wearable but different, and that was one thing that was really, really nice about it. But in any case, it again just has this really stank, weird smell that I don't know what kind of sandalwood they're using in these fragrances. It's very unpleasant, and I gotta tell you, whatever it is, they gotta stop. Because sandalwood is a great note. There's so many, ways to get that, beautiful creamy woodiness. But man, whatever they're doing, it's terrible. So Santal Blush, this one didn't even make it onto my skin. I think I put it on paper, and it was just like a no. Absolute no. Terrible, terrible fragrance. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Leave a comment down below. What is your most hated fragrance? And as always, Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.